Yesterday we did combining like terms. That is only going to work for addition and subtraction. You can only combine like terms when their variable and the variable's exponent are perfectly matched. For example, you cannot combine x squared plus x. You can't do it because the variable does match, but the exponents do not. So you cannot do anything. You would have to leave that like it is. Yes? But I could combine 3x squared plus 1x squared. Because these have the same value, 3 plus 1 is 4x squared. You can combine those. Does everybody understand? Now, that's what we did yesterday. We combined like terms. Today we are going to multiply a polynomial by a monomial. So if you look at example 1, that's a monomial out here by itself, multiplied by this entire polynomial. Make sense? So when you multiply, you have to use your laws of exponents. Okay? For example, if I have x times x, that's x squared because 1 plus 1 is 2. 5 times 5 is 5 squared. Yes? 5 times 5 times 5 is 5 cubed because there's 3 of them. This is where you use laws of exponents, only when you're multiplying and dividing. Okay, so real quick, just to remind ourselves of our product of exponents rules, if they have the same base and they're being multiplied, you keep the base and add the exponents. For example, if I have x to the 5th times x to the 3rd, I keep the base and add 5 plus 3, which is 8. We've already had a whole chapter over that. Do y'all have any questions? Are y'all good with the difference between combining like terms when you're adding or subtracting and when you're using your law of exponents, when you're multiplying and dividing? Okay, so what you're going to do to multiply polynomials is you're going to multiply the outside by everything on the inside, just like distributive property. Okay, so this is going to be, well, first of all, what coefficient is in front of this? A 1. And if it makes you feel good, go put it there. The other thing you can do is you can add the exponents if they're 1. Like if you want to say, hey, this has an exponent of 1, that has an exponent of 1. You can do that if it helps you see it better. Okay? But I'm going to basically take 1x and I'm going to multiply it by this first term of 5x. So I'm going to do 1 times 5, which is 5. And I'm going to do x times x, which is x squared. Easy? Now I'm going to do 1x times, what's this coefficient? Times 1x squared. So I'm going to do what's 1 times 1, so plus 1 because it's positive, and I'm going to do x times x squared, x to the 3rd. Can I combine these? No, because their variables are the same, but their exponents are not. That is the simplest form. Now, you could write it from greatest to least, but I'm not going to ask you to today. You can just leave it in the order you wrote it. Okay? All right, let's try this one. I don't see everybody paying attention. I'm going to do this monomial times this first term. So I'm going to do negative 2 times 2. Negative 4. Now, the x is there by itself, so x times whatever is just x. And y times y is y squared. What do y'all think? Are y'all okay? Okay, now I'm going to do this times the second term. What is negative 2 times 4? So I'm going to put minus 8. Are we okay? Now I'm going to do x times x squared. X cubed. And there's a y. There's no y over here, so I just write y. Easy? Yes. Okay, let's try the next one. I am going to multiply. Now, first, before we start, does everybody understand, y'all look at the board, that this 2 has a value of negative 2? Yes, it's a subtraction sign, but it gives it a value of negative 2. Are we okay? All right, everybody sitting up and waked up. All right. Negative 2g times g squared. Now, if it helps you, put that exponent of 1 right there. That way you can see it when you're adding. What what coefficient does this have? A 1. So I'm going to do negative 2 times 1, which is negative 2. And g to the first power times g squared is g to the third. I got to add the exponents, yes? All right, now I'm going to do this monomial times the second term. What is negative 2 times negative 2? 4. Positive, so you write plus 4. Okay, now what exponent does this g have? All right, so I'm going to do what is g to the first times g to the first? G squared. All right, now I'm going to do this monomial times the last term. What is negative 2 times positive 2? So minus 4, and this g is by itself, so I just write g. Can I combine any of these? Why not? Because they don't have the same exponent. I can multiply anything, but I can only add or subtract when they are the same variable with the same exponent. Okay? Would y'all like to try this one on your own? All right, go. Did everybody already do it? All right, so I have 3x to the 5th plus 3x to the 4th plus 3x to the 3rd. Yes? All right, let's try that. Y'all want to try this one with all these negatives? All right, go try it. Now, would it be okay if you put yx to the 3rd right here? Yes, but we're supposed to write them in alphabetical order. But it has the same value, so yes, it would be correct. Did everybody do okay? Does anybody have a question? Good? All right. This next one's just a little bit more challenging just because there's more variables, but you do it the exact same way. So this monomial times the first term. What is 2 times 3? This has an exponent of 1, so what's x squared times x? X cubed. And what is y cubed times y? Good. Now I do this monomial times the second term. What is 2 times 2? Positive 4. Is there an x to be multiplied with this x? So I just write x squared. But y cubed times y is y to the 4th. And now I do the monomial times the last term. 2 times 5 is positive 10. X squared times x is x cubed. And the y cubed just gets rewritten. Questions? This last one, you're basically going to deal with each parenthesis separately. So just pretend this isn't here. You'll go distribute this. Then you'll go distribute this. But what coefficient is in front of this n? A negative 1. Very good. And that one too. Check your answer with mine. Don't get your final answer. Just do the distributive part first. Did you get that far?
I'm looking at the problem of it because you can simplify x squared plus 6x squared plus 10x squared.
What? Where?
The problem we just did with you can simplify 6x cubed plus 10x cubed.
No. Because everything has to match. X cubed, y cubed. And that's x cubed y to the 4th. That's x cubed y to the 3rd. So the whole thing with the variables has to match. Did everybody hear that? Because it's a term, it's its own term. So like, let me use a different color. So this is a term, this is a term, this is a term. The whole variable part has to match the whole variable part to combine it. So if this was y to the 4th, I could combine those. Okay? Does that clarify? Okay. Now, can I combine anything here? Yes, I can combine this with this because the variable and the exponent match. And I can combine this with this. So I have 12 into the 3rd. What is the coefficient right here? Plus 5n squared minus 19n. Okay, flip to the back. Y'all pick one of these to do. Which one do y'all want to do? This one? I think so because it probably looks more challenging. So let's do it together. Y'all go try it on your own, and then we'll check it together and then wait for me. Check it with mine, and y'all tell me if I did something wrong or find something if you did it wrong. Does it look good? Now we can combine like terms. That says 1. All right, did y'all get the same thing? All right. Are there any questions? The last thing we're going to do is solve equations with this concept. They're not going to have any to the power of 2 to the power of 3 because I haven't taught y'all how to solve those yet. But can you solve any equation in your calculator? Yes. Now, this one has a typo, so do me a favor and put a 5 right there and pretend it was always there. So, can we go solve these in our calculator first and then do them by hand? Yeah. So where do I go in my calculator to solve an equation? So I go to y equals, I'm going to type in everything exactly how I see it. So 5, open parentheses, 2x minus 1, close parentheses, plus 3. Then in y2, 3, open, 3x plus 2, close, and that's it. Now what? Second trace, option. Now, if you are too zoomed in, it's a good chance it's going to give you an error. Just make sure you can see the intersection. Hit enter, 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 and the answer is 8. Write it way down here because we're going to go solve it by hand. Okay, let's go solve it by hand. I've got to distribute the 5. So I have 10x minus 5, plus 3, equals 9x plus 6. Any questions on that part? Okay, now I'm going to combine like terms right here. So I actually have 10x minus 2 equals 9x plus 6, yes? Now I need to get all the variables to the left and all the regular numbers to the right. So I'm going to move this 9x over here. How would I move it? Subtract. So I have 1x minus 2 equals 6. How do I get rid of the minus 2? Plus 2, and what is 6 plus 2? 1x equals 8, or x equals 8. Okay, we're going to do one more. Let's do this one. I'm not going to do this by calculator. Let's just do it by hand. And then on your assignment, I don't care what you do, but let's do it by hand. All right, y'all ready? What's the first thing I have to do? Distribute the 8 to everything in the parentheses. So 8 times 3 is 24c, plus 8 times 1 is 8. Am I going too fast, or y'all okay? Now I'm going to distribute the 4 to everything in parentheses over here. So I have 4 times c is 4c, plus 4 times 3 is 12, and then I'm going to just write down the minus 9. Did everybody get this far? Yes or no? Now I'm going to combine these like terms. So I have 24c plus 8 equals 4c, and what's 12 minus 9? So plus 3. Now I need to get all the c's to the left. So how do I get rid of this 4c? All right, so I have 20c plus 8 equals 3. Now I need to get all the numbers to the right. How do I get rid of plus 8? So I have 20c equals, and 3 minus 8 is negative 5. How do I get rid of the 20? So my answer is a fraction, yes? Do I need to simplify it? Which is negative 1/4. Could you have solved that in your calculator? Yes, and the answer would give you is a decimal, negative 0.25. Questions? All right, I'm going to pass out your assignment. Your homework assignment is the evens. Yay! So the right side on the front, but be careful when you flip to the back because it's not just the right side. It's the right side over here. But then when you get to number 12, which that one got cut off, it's the left side. So just be careful. Then if you want to do the odds, they will be extra credit. They'll be a half point each for up to 11 extra credit points. Okay. Be careful that you finish it to the exact, like until you cannot simplify anymore. So on these problems down here, be careful because you will probably be able to combine like terms. Yes? Now, right here, when you distribute this -3, it's going to distribute that negative for you. So yesterday we were doing addition and subtraction, so we had to go change. But when you're doing multiplication, you don't have to do that because this -3 is going to change that to a what? Negative. Does that make sense to y'all? Okay. On the equation parts, to be really honest, I don't care if you solve them in your calculator. You do you. Okay? Because on the EOC, you can do them in your calculator. So I'm fine with that. If you want to solve them by hand, solve them by hand. That's pretty much it. Do the evens. All right, get busy.